the Ellen situation.
Yeah.
You know, people found out that Ellen was mean, and all these people came out and said, Ellen's actually a bitch. And then we're like, oh,
Yeah.
I can't believe it. And she lost everything. She fell apart, disappeared, because people found out that this character that she was portraying in a half an hour on a television show is not really who she was. My buddy Greg, who was one of her writers, was like, she's a piece of shit. And he was like, she's a monster.
All these staffers started to come out, not for nothing, but I know a guy, I know him very well, whose sister worked for her, who said, you were not allowed to make eye contact with Ellen in the halls of that show. If you saw her, this is not a nice person.
Together, Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly are exposing Ellen DeGeneres in a way that has never been seen before. Prior to what secrets does Ellen conceal beneath her grin? Are those amazing dance moves or something more juicier? It's dirty, awkward, and hilarious. Spoiler alert. If you thought watching TV throughout the day was dull, think again. Stay put because this tea is hot and dripping all over the place.
It's like a beautiful name, Isis.
Ellen's rough. That's
Ellen
a rough
is like
one.
an old.
But it's a rough one now.
It's a rough one now because she was running Abu Ghraib in the back of her show.
It led to article after article of people being like, Ellen's a bitch. Ellen is a nasty person.
When someone is so adored, so spotless, and so incredibly kind, you can't help but wonder if there could be a little more going on behind the scenes. Now for Ellen DeGeneres during the day. The Queen of Bane, TV's crown princess of compassion, speaks to the loving, dancing, smiling celebrity who has improved her brand. But then, suddenly, two completely different, but equally bold media thugs choose to use the stick to poke that glossy exterior. Not just one, but two Rogan Joe and Kelly Megyn.
When you see, like, a lot of people saying that someone who seems so nice is not nice at all.
She doesn't seem nice, but that's people have a very poor judge of character. She doesn't seem nice. It seems forced. People that are like that all the time, she doesn't seem nice. It's very forced. And whatever, you're allowed to be a right. You're allowed to be nasty to people. You're accomplished. You're a comedian. You did the whole thing. What you're not allowed to do is have a Guantanamo Bay situation in the backstage of your show where everybody's walking around afraid for their life, and it's like Abu Ghraib where they're hooked up to wires and they
Dogs
have like
around them.
Yes, you heard correctly. Ellen's kindness was put to the test by Joe Rogan, the podcast king who is famous for questioning everyone from fighters to conspiracy theorists, and Megyn Kelly, a journalist who has made it her mission to cut through PR jargon like a hot knife through butter. Spoiler alert, things got messy, awkward, and hilarious.
I have a question for you on this. This is perfect for you. Because I'm seeing this week that there is an attempted comeback by somebody who did not cross one of those fateful lines of the misstepping on their sacred cows of gender or race or sexuality.
Yeah.
But she was said to be a nasty biatch, and that's Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah.
So her show got canceled after she had this testy exchange with Dakota Johnson, where something happened where Dakota said, oh, I had this birthday party, and Ellen said, well, why didn't you invite me? You didn't invite me. And she said, like, no, I did invite you, Ellen. That's not what happened. And Ellen had blown her off and then tried to play the victim on the set with her. Anyway, it led to article after article of people being like, Ellen's a bitch. Ellen is a nasty person. And
first, let's talk about Joe Rogan. Rogan's platform now functions as a massive cultural microscope, examining everything, including the supposedly untouchable Baned poster kid. Imagine Rogan considering Ellen in his typical direct manner and asking, wait, how does this lovely gal image square with all these whispers about what happens backstage? When celebrity PR stories don't add up, he's on the lookout.
all these staffers started to come out, not for nothing, but I know a guy, I know him very well, whose sister worked for her, who said, you were not allowed to make eye contact with Ellen in the halls of that show. If you saw her, this is not a nice person. So she eventually got canceled, but now she's coming back. She's got a Netflix special. That's the right response.
Yeah.
She's got a Netflix special. And here's the capper. On the promo, and apparently there's now articles out about from people who have seen the preview, she plays the victim.
Joe's approach was comprehensive cultural archaeology rather than petty celebrity rumors. He investigated the rumors that circulated around the corridors of Hollywood. Information about a more stressful and poisonous job that was less enjoyable and affectionate. You are aware of the type of setting where individuals pretend to be cheerful because, well, your career depends on it. Behind the scenes, however, it seemed to be a very other kind of show. Joe didn't hold back when he painted a picture of a juxtaposition so striking it made you wheeze. Imagine that the same woman who made us all want to dance along to Happy suddenly become the supervisor who made the workplace seem anything. The nice TV message is one thing, but the purported cold shoulder behind the scenes is quite another. Rogan went beyond focusing only on Ellen, using her as an illustration of a larger societal phenomenon. It was similar to watching a Hallmark film with a horror twist, except you couldn't turn it off. The type of celebrity who slaps compassion on a brand, presents it like merchandise, and expects us all to believe the fairy story. Without doubt, the issue of brand kindness is that the private world and the public message are quite different. Joe wasn't afraid to call out this trend because, let's be honest, it's understandable why some people get burned in the process when your generosity feels like a product. Have they improved?
Have they made progress with this strike?
They're picketing right now, so I think it's the early stages. I would think it might take a little bit with this one.
When someone crosses the writer strike, that's some dirty shit. They cross the picket line.
Yeah, I've never seen anybody doing that yet.
I think Ellen did. I had a buddy of mine who was writing on Ellen. Everybody kind of knows now what she's really all about. And that's another one of those. Like, press. I'm so nice and I'm so sweet. Being behind the scenes.
That may seem like enough to make some people uncomfortable, but that's only half the tale. Next up was Megyn Kelly, who attacked Ellen from a completely different perspective, but with equal ruthlessness. Kelly put on her investigative journalist's hat and went straight for the business jugular while Rogan was busy dissecting the cultural mythos. Kelly's strategy was like a powerful magnifying lens focused on Ellen's empire. The entire corporate apparatus behind the scenes, not simply the beaming TV presenter. You are aware of the lawsuits, employee grievances, and reported unfavorable working conditions, all of which are frequently ignored in glossy magazines and positive interviews. She didn't waste time on unimportant things. Rather, Kelly carefully outlined the differences between Ellen's public, be kind, tenet, and the corporate reality. It turns out that the cheerful talk show presenter may not have been operating a daycare, but rather a pressure cooker where staff members were juggling more than just scripts due to production ratings and deadlines. Furthermore, let's just say that the purported disregard for staff concerns wasn't exactly kindness on exhibit.
This is for me, and she actually has the nerve to say that she was run out of Hollywood. This person
with $100 million in her pocket.
$450 million, according to Forbes. That's a low estimate.
Yeah.
Because so now she's out there saying, I was run out of Hollywood. She's actually reportedly complaining about how hard it is for women in America with the double standards.
Look at Oprah, how hard it is for her.
Oh, she's got, like 10 houses, Ellen DeGeneres?
Michelle Obama, look how hard it is for women in America. They're hurting.
They're going to let her back in, Rob, because she's a lesbian, she's a leftist, and she didn't hit one of their sacred cows.
Kelly's criticism also focused on the media, pointing out how they frequently avoided discussing Ellen's scandals in order to uphold the brand rather than criticize it. But instead of playing that game, Kelly pushed those contrasts to the forefront, shifting the focus from the stage grins to the ugly reality of people. It was more about removing the layers of celebrity branding to expose what's underneath than it was about scandal. When you combine Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly, you get a 1-2 punch that is simultaneously entertaining, investigative journalism, and cultural criticism.
Look at it.
Oh, well, you know where that is too, right? It's a similar image to that, right?
No.
I know Jamie does.
What is it?
It's on the set of a famous talk show that's now not on anymore.
Oh, Ellen? Was that Ellen?
Yeah.
Really?
Just look at the temple and then look at the...
Let me see Ellen's background.
Kelly's fact-driven in-depth analysis revealed the corporate underbelly of the Ellen brand, while Rogan's unvarnished skeptic breakdowns set the scene by questioning the story. Neither of them desired a brawl or an in-person confrontation. No, this was all about analyzing the narrative and making a few pointed remarks that made Ellen's reputation seem a little less perfect. However, why is this important? Because it involves more than just a single celebrity's reputation. Suffering it reflects our consumption of celebrity culture. How we unquestioningly absorb glossy narratives, and so, occasionally, the messy, complex, and yes, occasionally humorous truth must be revealed. It serves as a reminder that there may be a whole other narrative behind every vain tagline.
She's a leftist, and she didn't hit one of their sacred cows. Nastiness, that's their bread and butter.
Well, I think everyone... I will say, like, the resentment, I think everyone should have a chance for reconciliation. I don't think Jesus exempted anybody. And so I do, while it does, because I have been allowed back in, but I don't hold any grievance and resentment. It's very important. And I would just say for Ellen, the resentment, you have to get over resentment to whatever addiction or addictive qualities happen, to get over it.
Don't misunderstand, this is more like revealing the backstage of a skillfully planned magic act than some mean-spirited witch hunt. Although the smoke and mirrors are real, the sparkle is real as well. When you're about to make a difficult life decision, Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly's combined efforts are like that friend who gives you the brutally honest truth. It hurts, surprises you, and may even make you chuckle. What does this signify for Ellen's legacy then? Her daytime kingdom has become less fairy tale and more reality TV drama, and the baned crown may now have some dents. Fans may begin to see those dance steps and endearing smiles with a little more suspicion. Additionally, it's possible that other celebrities may begin to feel scrutinized and realize that being compassionate as a brand is no longer a guarantee of immunity from criticism. The kicker is this. Rogan and Kelly were able to deliver these strikes without having to face Ellen directly. No petty Twitter arguments or in-person confrontations. No last-ditch efforts to repair the harm, only astute observations, thorough examinations, and a readiness to point out what they observed. These days, that's how you expose someone not with theatrics, but with facts and unafraid opinion.
Her and Bush are jumping around. I mean,
that's right. She was buddies with Bush. That was like
she's
one of the
a
first
CIA agent. Stephen Paddock. And do not ask me for sources, but Stephen Paddock.
Who's that?
He was the guy that shot up the Vegas concert. That was a very tragic thing. Listen to this. The only guy that saw Stephen Paddock alive, his name is Jesus Campos. He was a guard at Mandalay Bay. He got interviewed nowhere else. You know where he got interviewed in the beginning?
Ellen. Really?
Weird. And then they went on, if you could find that clip, they went on with a weird like diagram of how it happened, and Ellen's like showing the people how it happened. Not like an emotional, like, how are you feeling? How are you holding up? It was a weird diagram of like, and then he went to the left and to the right. It was very strange to look. What the hell's going on? This is a daytime show.
The true kicker about this whole situation is this. Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly double whammy exposing Ellen DeGeneres. It's not just about the tea being spilled on one celebrity, no. It's more significant than that. Whether on purpose or not, the traditional echo chamber where celebrity tales are either ignored or twisted is broken when these two powerful figures from quite different media universes come together. Consider it. Joe Rogan, who created a podcast empire by allowing boxers, conspiracy theorists, and odd geniuses to ramble for hours on end, is a leading figure in the counterculture. Meanwhile, Megyn Kelly, a seasoned journalist with a knack for slicing through PR gimmicks and political spin, expertly displays her mainstream media muscle. When a rock is thrown into a perfectly motionless pond, the result is a tsunami rather than ripples. Joe brings in the doubtful, let's not buy the marketing vibe that's long been a staple of his audience. You are aware of the group of people who enjoy dissecting cultural layers and exposing hypocrisy wherever it may be concealed, even if it is concealed behind a charming phrase and a choreographed dance. Megyn, on the other hand, utilizes her journalistic tools to go through employee complaints, memos, and lawsuits and turn them into a clear picture of what's truly going on behind Ellen's famous smile.
That should tell you
uniform.
something.
Yeah.
Like, that's an odd look with all those buttons. Like, why do you have so many wrist buttons?
It was given to her in Langley.
The only reason why you have that many wrist buttons if you're looking at clothesline somebody.
Yeah, look at her. Look at her. Everyone says she looks so friendly. She looks friendly.
She does look very military.
Yeah, she's a militant woman.
With a very expensive watch,
She
too.
dealt with a lot of discrimination when she came out. It was very sad, but then she joined the CIA.
Her house got broken into while she was at home.
Really?
Yeah. She got a dope place in Montecito.
And they broke in while she was there.
Yeah.
And those people are still being tortured to this day.
Probably.
They're still in an underground jail.
Yeah.
Why is it important that their voices produce this potent feedback loop that upends the core tenets of celebrity worship? Because of Rogan and Kelly, there is a great surge of increased inquiry and skepticism among the public, who are no longer content to just sit back and enjoy popcorn. Questions like how much of what we see is just PR smoke and mirrors are beginning to surface. How genuine is the kindness that the biggest names in entertainment are trying to sell us? All of a sudden, the notion that celebrities are perfect saintly figures seems a little archaic and unsophisticated. This is a complete cultural shift, not just Ellen's issue. Fans are ravenous for stories that go beyond the glossy exterior and want the real thing, flaws and all. This fresh examination reveals the gap between the well-preserved public persona and the chaotic private life, shattering the entire bubble of celebrity culture. It's also intriguing because it makes us reconsider how we consume entertainment and celebrities that we look up to. It feels less like inspiration and more like a skillfully written sales presentation when a "Be Kind" tagline becomes a brand strategy rather than a lived philosophy. The drama is causing more than just gasps and giggles. In a world where social media filters and public relations tactics rule, they are considering what authenticity actually means. Even better, none of this involved Ellen hurling himself off stage or starting arguments on Twitter. No spectacular in-person encounters occurred. No yelling during live TV matches. This exposure was brought about by astute analysis, compelling narratives, and a healthy dose of skepticism. The type that genuinely provokes thought instead of only making you want to click away. It's a welcome diversion from the typical celebrity feuds that never seem to end.
Also,
I'm
to
just
admit
like,
your
of
mistakes.
all people on earth to be feeling sorry for herself, Ellen DeGeneres should not be on the list.
She should at least, but make a real apology and do it.
There's no apology. It's just woe is me. I was run out of Hollywood as she speaks from this grandiose stage on Netflix. Hello, you haven't been canceled if you are doing a Netflix special. She got $20 million for the one before this. I'm sure she's fine.
Rather, Rogan and Kelly demonstrated that you can call out inconsistencies, challenge narratives, and hold people responsible without resorting to the clumsiness of trivial public arguments. This kept the entire talk amusing while yet making it seem more serious and thought-provoking. Looking ahead, there may be some really crazy repercussions from this change. Once obligingly following Ellen's every action, fans may begin to doubt other celebrities who have similarly immaculate photos. It may become more difficult for any banned act to go unnoticed without examination if the focus shifts to the nuanced truths behind other well-known businesses. In fact, this could herald in a new era of celebrity culture when authenticity isn't just a phrase, but a demanded standard. Perhaps audiences are sick of kindness as a costume and prefer real humanity, which is why Ellen's pleasant kingdom suddenly seems a little fragile. Therefore, it's not simply about dragging Ellen through the mud when Joe Rogan's counterculture influence and Megyn Kelly's journalistic rigor are united. It's a wake-up call to those of us who have been contentedly ignoring the celebrity PR hole and a cultural reset button. It's about calling for better narratives. Actual individuals behind the characters and sometimes less flawless images on our screens. And to be honest, that is far more fulfilling than any reality television drama. Ultimately, this entire story serves as a reminder that, in a society that is fixated on appearances, the truth always finds a way to surface, occasionally with a little assistance from unlikely allies like Joe and Megyn. Additionally, if Ellen's legacy suffers along the way, perhaps it was necessary. Because if the price of progress is revealing the cracks in our beloved fairy tales, then bring on the roasting and let the actual story shine through. So next time you see someone preaching kindness from a stage or a screen, remember it's worth asking what's really going on behind the curtain, because sometimes the nicest smiles hide the messiest secrets, and sometimes it takes voices like Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly to bring those secrets to light.